is funny?
Bam. We're live again.
Yeah, I don't know how to start these. It's always weird.
I don't either. We don't have like a video or anything like that. I don't know. We just do it.
We're here. What else do you want? Like, there's no other way to begin this. Hello.
I love it. Justin, it's almost like we did this earlier this week.
Are we becoming live streamers? Is this?
Maybe, dude. I might need to get like a stream deck or something like that. Like push some buttons, change the layouts.
We get fancy.
We might get into it.
We're here though. We're ready. We're ready to. I'm excited that Sleeper has rookies up. That's what I'm excited about because, I mean, they couldn't have done it before the declare date. So I get it, but I just wish they had it sooner. I don't know what else to say.
Apparently, so word out there for any of y'all, if you are drafting with us today, it actually looks like we're full. So I did post a link in the chat, but it looks like we're full now. But I have heard that they might be missing a couple here and there. Like I heard whenever they initially dropped all the rookies, like Will Levis was not in.
He's in now.
He's in
Will
now.
Levis, Anthony Richardson. I'm seeing him.
Yep. I think Tillman was the other one, and I see him down here too.
They got everybody.
I think we're good. At least the people we care about. I don't know about any of these other people, but at least the people that they care about. So we're doing
who's the Nebraska wide receiver? There's no chance he made it. Trey Palmer. Trey Palmer's probably not in here because you don't need to know Trey Palmer.
He's in here.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. Fun times.
All right. So we're drafting a 3-round Superflex rookie mock draft. Most of your drafts out there are probably going to be 4, maybe even 5 rounds. I don't know that many people in this class to do that yet, so we're just going to do 3. That's all we really need to care about.
Here's the thing. In the leagues that I have a 4th round or a 5th round, I'm drafting those players most likely to cut them. Like I don't care about going that deep, to be perfectly honest, because maybe 1 every 2 years like actually turns into a semi-decent asset. Right. And it's probably a handcuff running back who got thrust into a role because of an injury. Like that's I hate going like past the 3rd round. I really do. Because also keeps the waiver a little fresh, which I enjoy in leagues.
Yeah. And it's like 75% of those guys don't even make it through training camp. So it's, or you're drafting people that were picked up as UDFAs because we're just interested in them. And then again, they don't make it past rookie mini camp. And then, so we're full. Let's not wait around any longer. We can just get this in here. I'm going to share the screen. And then start the draft. By the way, Ryan McDowell is in here at the 1.02. So if you're in here, you're drafting against not only Justin and I, but Ryan McDowell as well. So that is exciting. I need to make sure that I set this to a minute.
And while you're checking settings, guys, remember, if you have not joined yet or you have not seen, we have launched the YouTube memberships. If you like these live streams, if you like any of the other videos Addison and I put out, go subscribe to the YouTube membership. You're going to get extra live streams, extra videos every single month. So again, check that out, guys. It should just be, if you're on desktop, there's a join button right below the video. Click that. Go ahead, join the YouTube membership for extra YouTube content.
And I think the link is down in the description as well, too.
Okay. 101.
Ryan, this is Superflex. Ryan.
I think he might know that. Here's the thing. Okay. So I think I'm going to go off the assumption they're aware. And here's the thing. Bijan Robinson at the 101. Yes. You don't need to discuss it. That is going to happen every single time. Jahmyr Gibbs. While I don't think he's going to be the likely 102, we talked about this in our first way too early rookie mock. There is the potential that he goes this high. People will value running back over quarterback, even in a super flex league.
Thought it said 1 quarterback. That's all right.
It happens.
Hey, it'll make for a fun YouTube comment section where people are like, "Whoa, Bryce Young fell in."
So, are you taking JSN this high, even in a super flex? Are you even considering him at the 1-3?
No. It's got to be Bijan and the 2 quarterbacks. I know, like it seems Ryan and home runs only thought it said 1 quarterback. And this is So that's all right. But I'm assuming that those picks would basically just be like, take the 2 quarterbacks where they went, put them in front of Gibbs, and then slide the other 2 down.
Yep, Gibbs and JSN should be 4-5. After that, I mean, yeah, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud. Okay. Do you have concerns over Bryce Young's height? Because that is the real concern, right? Are you concerned about the height in any capacity?
No, not at all. I mean, it's good. When you're talking about a quarterback that like is as talented as Bryce Young, there should be no concerns whatsoever about his height. Like he's already doing it. You know, he's performing well, one at Alabama against some of the top tier defenses in college. He's performing it with offensive linemen at Alabama who, you know, if some of them translate to the NFL, they're going to be NFL linemen. He's going to be doing all that as well. I'm not at all concerned about Bryce Young and his height. I don't care about his hand size. Like that all just seems so irrelevant when you're talking about a player as productive and as talented as Bryce Young.
Yes, I am in complete agreement. So looking at the rest of the board as we go here, obviously CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, the assumed 102, 103. If people are aware, it's a super flex draft. After that, Quentin Johnston, Jordan Addison, Anthony Richardson goes at the 1-8, followed by Zach Charbonnet, Sean Tucker, Will Levis, and then we'll see what this pick is here. Is there anything here that jumps off the page immediately to you? I think there's one thing that you will not like.
I don't like Anthony Richardson that high, which we talked about kind of in depth in our rookie mock draft video that was released, I think, a couple weeks ago now, where you took Anthony Richardson about that high. I don't remember if it was the 107, 108, but it was in that range. And we had a pretty big discussion about it, saying that you just like the upside. You're ready for the home run swing. If he goes anywhere higher than that, you're probably out. But that's a good, comfortable range for you. And I was on the complete opposite side of just like, I think he is going to be Malik Willis. What we thought Malik Willis would have been had Malik Willis been a first-round pick, you know, which is essentially a much worse version of Jalen Hurts, just with higher draft capital. That's, you know, what I see with Anthony Richardson. Like I can't buy into it.
Yeah, I understand it. Again, I need it. My whole thing is if an NFL team believes in him to take him in the first, I am fine taking him there. But again, I want the NFL to tell me what they think of his talent. And that's how I'm approaching it. Like, again, the tools are there, you know, from a physical standpoint. He has them in spades. He might be the most athletic quarterback in the NFL, you know, the second he gets drafted. But if the NFL looks at him and says, no shot, then yeah, I'm probably going to be out too, just because the NFL most of the time knows more than I do. So I'm going to take their cue on Anthony Richardson.
Let me ask you, if Anthony Richardson, one of the popular comps for Richardson in terms of ceiling is Lamar Jackson, right? If he follows suit with Lamar and is a back end first round pick, does that change? Because you're saying, you know, he's a first round pick in technicality, but there's a lot of data out there. I know Peter Howard talks about it as well too, that essentially if you're not a top 10 pick at quarterback, you're kind of all the same at that point and your hit rate massively drops. So does that change anything for you if he's in the teens or 20s?
No, because I know he's being drafted as a project. I understand that. But to me, that's saying a team is willing to commit to developing him, right? And you can see him come along as a fantasy quarterback before he does an NFL quarterback.
Okay. Just making sure.
So we got a comment that says Sean Tucker way too high.
I saw that and I was ready.
Pull it up. Let's start pulling some comments here. Yeah.
Tucker's way too high. Oh.
Tell him why it's wrong, Addison. Tell him why Tucker is not too high here.
Sean Tucker, and again, Justin, this is what I was saying whenever we talked about Sean Tucker in our video, that I think he's underrated. Even though he's my RB3, I still think he's underrated because other people, I think, either don't view him as RB3, still top 5, but not RB3. Or if they do view him RB3, they're just kind of like, he's fine. But like, if I can get Evans or Charbonnet or A-Chain, you know, half a round later or whatever, then I'm just going to take those guys. But I think Sean Tucker is legitimately, without question, the third best running back in this class and should be up there with other RB3s from previous classes like Javonte or J.K. Dobbins, you know, and stuff like that. because he's so freaking good, dude. He was uber productive. He has blazing speed as a track star as well. He catches passes out of the backfield. Everything that you want from a running back in today's NFL, Sean Tucker gives you. There is no questions about any bit of his profile whatsoever. Like there are like A-Chain, little undersized. Zach Evans, Kendre Miller, they didn't have a lot of production early on until Zach Evans actually left TCU. Then they both kind of did their own thing. But Tucker was his guy. He was the guy all 3 years, and that was him. And I love it so much that I'm able to get him at the 110, and I'm still being told that that's too high.
Yeah, 110's not too high. But looking through the rest of the draft, right, Zach Evans goes at 112, Josh Downs, Jalen Hyatt, Ryan Grabs, Devin A-Chain, obviously, like you said. You got Kayshawn, and then Michael Mayer, who I take the tight end. Okay, the level of athlete he is, just as a whole all-around player, I am thrilled to grab what I think most people will have as their tight end 1 in this class at the 2.5, even in a Superflex league, even in a 12-team league, right? I don't think he should be slipping that far. We took him significantly higher in our initial, rookie mock, but that is followed up by Rashee Rice, Zay Flowers, Kendre Miller, Tank Bigsby sliding to the back of the second. That's shocking. If you had looked at this from a year ago, you'd think, no way Tank Bigsby falls. And then Marvin Mims, Cedric Tillman. What jumps off the page to you from the second round here?
Well, you hit the first one on Tank Bigsby being that far down. I'm also a huge Kendre Miller fan as well. He is my I'll say he's tied with RB4 currently with Bigsby. So they're 4A, 4B. And then Charbonnet's like right behind them with Zach Evans. That whole cluster, I don't have a lot of just differentiation between all of them. So to get both Kendre Miller and Tank Bigsby basically a whole round later than all three of them, that's amazing to me, especially whenever they're behind Rashee Rice, Zay Flowers, these guys that are, I feel like they're more project kind of wide receivers. Rashee Rice especially. Flowers was very productive, but he's a 4-year player. I don't know what kind of draft capital he's going to get. So that was all it right there. I love seeing Josh Downs at the 201 though. That one puts a smile on my face.
Josh Downs, I think honestly should go higher. Like again, I'm taking him over Will Levis. I'm taking him over Charbonnet. I'm debating him over Zach Evans. I think that's in that range for me. Josh Downs, like we said, is just an analytical, call it analytical sweetheart. He checks every box basically that you want from an analytical standpoint outside of like true size. So there's just a lot to like with him, I think. But again, so it follows it up with, what do we have? Eric Gray, Hendon Hooker, Kenny McIntosh. You have Tanner McKee, Max Dugan.
Where are you going?
This is where like I could look at Deuce Vaughn. Deuce Vaughn's fun. Like Deuce Vaughn is a fun pick. I'll die before I draft a running back that small. Like that will not happen. Like it just screams gadgets. It screams Tariq Cohen, who had one season you were actually happy. I'm a Bears fan, so trust me. Like I'm being very real about that. But I'm gonna go to a guy like when I'm late in rookie drafts, what I want is players I think are going to be handcuffs. I'm not expecting to find like an everyday starter in the third round. And that screams one player. Screams Chase Brown.
I was going to say, you just conveniently skipped over Chase Brown whenever you were talking about Deuce Vaughn. I'm like, bro, you better pick him.
Yeah. No, Chase Brown is the perfect guy that will stick around 3-4 years as a backup running back, and he will have RB1 and RB2 weeks as a handcuff. And here's the thing. Significantly earlier with running backs if they're good or not, right? If they have what it takes to be productive. And in the third round, I'm not trying to draft a wide receiver that, maybe flashes here and flashes there. And if he gets a role, I'm not trying to hold and burn a roster spot for 2 or 3 years. Mm-hmm. My thing will be give me the running back in the third round almost always, because I know significantly sooner. And it's a whole lot easier to just cut bait if they immediately start like 4th on the depth chart and are buried behind other like journeyman running backs. That tells you what you need to know usually.
Right. Yep. I was hoping that you were going to go that route, and you went that route because we took him in the back half of the second.
Yep.
Ours,
same exact thing. Like I'll probably take him over like Cedric Tillman.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Marvin Mims is interesting if he gets draft capital, but I think he'll end up being small. So there's just a lot of different ways to do it. But I'm heavy running back late.
As am I. As we will see here in just a couple of picks. Although I'm kind of curious on a couple other players that are okay. Kincaid went already. So he was a guy that I just have interest in. And this tight end class has some interesting players in down at 2, 3, 4 that I'm just curious on where they actually end up going. Darnell Washington is the other one down here.
I was going to say he's my tight end too.
I saw his name down here, Darnell Washington.
Yes. Yeah. I know he's in this. He's my
Do you know what he's listed as? 6'7", 270.
Dude, he is, again, we all fall in love with the size, the height, the speed, like all of these combinations. I'm all in. I am all in. Darnell Washington late. Like if I'm not going to go Chase Brown here, Darnell Washington's the other guy I consider.
Mm-hmm. So I wanted to throw Darnell Washington out too. Brenton Strange, I've heard some love for as well. My boy Parker Washington's down here too. But I went with I don't know how to pronounce his last name. The running back,
Israel Abanikanda.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm not going to try and repeat that, but that's it.
That could be wrong too, but it just feels right.
Abanikanda.
Sure.
So
Iggy.
I've heard
his nickname will be Iggy in like 3 months.
Oh, I'm all for it. That's totally better. So I went with him. I've been hearing some good things about him. People talking about him as a sleeper, and they're saying that if you really like Zach Evans, you really like Iggy. So then that's I'm interested to see where he ends up falling in both my rankings and in the actual NFL draft.
Yes.
The other one too, I didn't see Ibrahim on here either from Minnesota.
Oh, Muhammad.
Yeah.
Muhammad Ibrahim.
Ibrahim.
Yeah, he's a guy just I think fell off the radar
because of the injury.
Yeah, like he hasn't bounced back up, and he's destined for day 3 draft capital. He's not going to go early. I don't blame anybody for not wanting him. You know what I mean? Like it's all of these guys at the end.
Yeah.
If you look at them and say I don't like them as a player, the NFL is probably not going to like them either, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Like you're not finding second, third round running backs this late. You're looking at day 3 guys with super low hit rates. So pick and choose your spots. You can't like everybody.
So that's the end of the 3 rounds there. We got a couple comments in here that I think we can address, and it'll allow us to further talk about some of these players as well a little bit. So we're not all in here for only 20 minutes. So Z Master Pro, who was in here, I believe he drafted at the 1.04, got the steal on Bryce Young because Ryan in home runs only didn't know it was Superflex. No, anyway, but he said that he believes that Butte at 2.04 is a steal. How do you feel about Butte now that he declared everything like that? We didn't get to talk about him because he had not declared at that point, and we believe that because he had originally said that he was going.
Yeah, he was out. He had said he was going back to school.
So we were like, bet. So we didn't include him in our mock. So what do you have on him?
So when the season started, he was my wide receiver 1. Like that, like when the season began, it was him and JSN, and then obviously Jordan Addison. Like those were the 3 guys that were basically in contention to be the wide receiver 1. He obviously did not perform. LSU as a whole
sucked.
Yeah, the offense was not great. But when you want to talk about tools, you want to talk about early production, he checks all those boxes, which is why heading into year 3, everybody was like, oh shit, he's gonna explode onto the scene, and it just didn't happen. I don't know if I blame the quarterback, the change in offense, or whatever it may be, but I am taking him over Jalen Hyatt. I'm considering him over Josh Downs. Like I think he belongs in the first. I think he's that good. So he doesn't belong in the same conversation as JSN and them anymore, but he's in that second tier of guys.
So he belongs in the first. Who are you kicking out then? Are you putting over my boy Josh Downs?
I don't know. I'm probably going to keep Downs from an analytical standpoint. I think he checks out a little bit better. I need to like fully dive in, but I'm putting him over Charbonnet. Charbonnet is the guy like I will continue to kick down just a little bit. And it's not that I don't think he's good, but he just doesn't do anything
special
exceptionally well. He's a good player. I just don't get the hype over like he's going to be the greatest sleeper ever. I like Charbonnet, but I think Kayshon's going to be better.
Okay. I feel like I'm kind of on the opposite side of Butte of just like, I don't want to say he's overrated, but I don't have him up there. And so I don't really, I mean, I would take him over Jalen Hyatt. I feel like that's an easy one. And I would take him over A-Chain as well. But I mean, I just feel like if he's there if he's taken anywhere from 111 to 202, I'm not really batting an eye at it. And, I think maybe it is me looking at his whole profile and seeing the decline from year 2 to year 3. And that like really penalizes him in my mind, which is funny because Jordan Addison, you could argue kind of did the same thing.
Same deal. JSN did, but he got hurt.
Well,
so
he would have.
Yeah, so it's not real.
Yeah. So I don't know. It is. I think his testing is going to be really good for him because that'll show that he has the measurables, the size, the speed, the athleticism that the NFL is going to fall in love with. And then when he gets early to mid second round draft capital, that's going to make him be there,
Right. And that's how I'm ranking. I expect him because I truly believe like the reason he said, oh crap, I need to actually come out is like they had that draft advisory board. I guarantee you he had a conversation with them and the word was, you're still rated as a, mid second round pick or whatever it is. Like he's not getting out of day 2. I don't think he even gets out of round 2. So if he lands there, I'm going to be taking a chance on him in the back of the first, early second a lot.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. Randy said Josh Downs may go over Levis, but in Superflex, if Levis is a top 10 pick in the NFL, no way he gets past 6.
He will rise. I think that's right. Like he'll be a riser. I just don't like Will Levis. Like I just don't. So I think he'll rise. He won't be a value, quote unquote value at 111. He'll end up going over like Jordan Addison or just behind him maybe, or whoever is Quentin Johnston, the other guy people are amped on. Obviously, he'll fall right in that little pocket. Absolutely.
So then we got why is McIntosh so low? Do you know much about McIntosh down there at the 3.02?
Yeah, not a ton of college production. Right, was an incredible receiver this year, and like that's fantastic. But just I don't think he's going to project as a good athlete. Again, if you look at what he did in high school, and that's not necessarily the easiest, it's not necessarily predictive, but he was a subpar athlete coming out of high school even. So I'd be very surprised if all of a sudden he's a guy that's in like the 4.5s. I think he's probably just a low-end athlete and probably a middle-tier running back that slips to day 3. If he lands in round 3, the NFL is telling me I'm wrong, so that's fine. I'll bump him up, but I don't think that'll be the case.
Gotcha. Okay. So for everybody out there, let me switch over back here real quick.
There we go.
Justin messaged me privately.
Did you not send me the link first? So if I don't get in this draft,
you're fine. You're fine. We're going to do another one. We're going to run it all back because why not? We got the time. It's a nice Thursday night. Only being on here for 20 minutes. So let's just run it back. And for anybody else who joined in here late or and wanted to draft or anything like that, you can hop in here now. We're setting it up. So did you not get in here yet? Because it's filling up now.
I'm trying to get
Justin.
All right, I'm
you're in there.
You didn't send it. I was like,
no, I put it simultaneously, but you kept talking about McIntosh.
In the back end chat, I didn't see it. I was like, you jack. Oh my God. Okay.
Dude, I kept it filled up so quickly. I was just like, oh no, Justin, you're not going to make it.
We're going to draft together. We're going to hold hands and draft together. Oh, that scared the crap out of me. All right.
All right. We're
Superflex.
Superflex. This is going to be Superflex again.
Superflex.
Another Superflex. So then we get a little bit more accurate here so everybody knows. So if you want to take Will Levis at the 105, 106, Richardson higher, go for
immediate comment in the chat saying one
right.
QB.
Right before we do that, though, do you want to answer this real quick? When is a good time to do rookie drafts? The league he's in is scheduled for late August, and he wants to move it closer to after the draft to reward those who follow prospects.
So I have this debate. I have this debate with a ton of leagues that I'm in. Like, I have leagues from college that go back 6, 7, 8 years now. And when we started, we were doing it in August. And in theory, that penalizes the people that do the work, that are watching mock drafts in January, aware of everything that's happening, in tune to the NFL draft. I am very pro, like, day after the draft is usually when I kick off most of my rookie mocks, because one, we have all the data we need. You're still going in with some expectation of, did people do research or did they not? So I think it balances that out as well. And also, who isn't itching to just draft immediately? As soon as we have landing spot, I immediately want to know who's on my team. So,
dude, that next Sunday at like 10 a.m. Bam.
I've had time where we've started it like in the middle of round 6. We're like, screw it, let's go. It doesn't matter. Let's rip it. So I'm very pro like early May, late April, as soon as that draft ends. The NFL draft.
I will add, if you wanted to add in a little zest to your rookie draft, I've seen leagues, and I want to try this. I've never done it before, but I've seen leagues that will break up the rookie draft. They'll do the first 2 rounds in May, right after the NFL draft, and then they will do rounds 3, 4, 5, whatever after that in August. So then you kind of get a little bit of
that's fun. I like
news and stuff of, so that, and then what that also does is it makes those top end thirds a little bit more valuable, because you kind of get those players that are rising in training camp and preseason, stuff like that. And if any teams that have those picks, if you got the 101 because you are the 101 and you have your 3.01, that makes that pick a little bit more valuable. Maybe you can get a little extra something for it, help speed up a rebuild or anything like that. It sprinkles in a little extra fun. And you get the draft, not like 2 full times, but it's like 2 different drafts in your offseason.
And it's also, you get the part you care about early. Oh, also, Addison, you have it set to snake, so flip that.
Oh, my bad. We don't want a snake.
I saw a rookie mock. I watched a rookie mock the other day that had the snake, and I was like, what?
I saw that too.
I was like, what is happening? Why? What's the point of that? Just doesn't make any sense to me. Don't do snake draft. If you guys are new to Dynasty, rookie draft should not be snake.
Agreed.
It's just straight. If you get the first pick in each round, second pick, third pick, and so on. Who do you think goes 101? Oh, Bijan, nice.
Dude, what? All right, here we go. So, Superflex again.
This should be the start. The first 3, that should be the start. I think at 4, and we talked about this in our other rookie mock, this is where it can get not weird, but different.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all going to depend on, I don't want to say so much draft capital, because I feel like it's Jaxon Smith-Njigba is almost guaranteed to be a top 10, if not top 15 pick at worst. And Jahmyr Gibbs is probably a second round pick.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't really matter all too much, because second round running backs, that's the new first round almost.
It's JT, it was DeAndre Swift, it was Javonte Williams, it was Breece Hall.
Yep.
The second round doesn't matter. If anybody tells you that, they're wrong. I think what it'll come down to is, like, I'm a big fan of not shifting too much. Like, I don't shift my tiers a ton based on draft capital, but I will shift within my tiers landing spot if I think players are close. And like that's how I'll kind of take the draft. I'll go in with a pretty solid idea of my tiers. And if I think, 3 wide receivers are close, like very close in talent, then I'm probably going to pick the guy that I think is going to have the better season year 1. Like, again, that's within a tier. I've already deemed, I think these guys are similar enough in talent. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how you approach that.
Yeah, I kind of approach it similarly. And after the 2020, the whole shenanigans in 2020 with we raised up Clyde Edwards-Helaire over Jonathan Taylor, which obviously was a massive mistake. Ever since then, I'm more cautious about moving players up and down my draft board strictly because of landing spots and to an extent draft capital a little too. I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Jonathan Taylor, although they were first, one was a first and one was a second round pick, they were only separated by like 4 or 5 like raw picks essentially.
Mhm. But the thing for me was they were never in the same tier. Like
Right.
a player. Like when I came into that, they were not in the same tier. So for me, JT remained 1. CH ended up just ahead of Dobbins for me. Dobbins and Akers, and Swift was my 2. Like it was JT, Swift, and then CH ended up at 3 because of that landing spot, because I was still light on Akers and Dobbins coming in.
Right. So that's
where you can save yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Is not falling for those pitfalls of players that get skyrocketed up draft boards because we perceive their landing spot to be so much better than everything else. So I've become much more cautious with that over the past couple of draft seasons, and I will again, after the NFL draft this year, if something wild and crazy happens, like Charbonnet goes at the beginning of the second to the Bears, and they don't let Dave Montgomery go.
McClure,
but then better
than Charbonnet. So,
well,
okay, Charbonnet at 1-6 here. It's in the draft. So if you guys can't see the board, Charbonnet goes 1-6, Levis 7, Jordan Addison 8, Sean Tucker, I grabbed him at 9. He thought 110 was too early. Welcome.
9?
Anthony Richardson goes 110. Quentin Johnson, Zach Evans is to round out the first. We get Levis and Richardson swap this time, and then Sean Tucker moves up, Charbonnet moves up. I think this is probably closer to what we end up seeing outside of the Charbonnet pick.
Yeah.
And Quentin Johnston going way earlier.
I was going to say, if you basically flip Charbonnet and Johnston, this is almost a perfect first round.
Yeah, I'm taking Addison over Johnston. I think you are too, but
yes. Yeah.
This is a draft I like a lot. And again, I'm taking Sean Tucker over Will Levis. I'm not a Will Levis guy.
Is somebody so I looked at it because I wanted to see if Kevin here, who took Charbonnet here at the 106, was the same guy who took Charbonnet, and it was not. It was I don't want to pronounce names. The person drafting at the 101 here, Tikal,
yeah.
Tikal. He took Charbonnet in the first draft. So if either one of you, I'm assuming at least one of you, maybe potentially both, are here in the chat right now, can you guys explain, just like toss a couple sentences on why Charbonnet is so high up for you guys? Like, is it just something that you're seeing? We don't in MLA format, site, sources cited.
Give me links to highlight tapes.
Yeah. But no, just hit me real quick with what's the difference for you between Charbonnet and Tucker and Evans and all these other guys that you're taking him that high up? Do you expect draft capital? Is it something you're seeing analytically or on film, or is it something that you saw somebody else say? I'm just curious because I want to know too, because then I can go see it and maybe my opinion changes, because I'm like you said it earlier, where it just seems like Charbonnet is the guy that's like you just can so easily kick down the road in place for some of these other players. So I'm curious.
I will say, so we get into the second round here. You get Bigsby, Kayshon Boutte, Downs, Michael Mayer, Kendry Miller. I missed my own pick. Oh no. Okay, well I gotta say Flowers.
Idiot.
Yeah, I am an idiot. That's what happens when I'm just.
You could have taken Jalen Hyatt.
I shouldn't have even been in the draft. Oh, I would never. But those first 5 picks, like that is why I'm starting to like the early second a lot more.
Oh, there we go.
I'm starting to become a much bigger fan of the early second for this exact reason. I think Boutte coming back makes it, just a player deeper. And
it juiced it a little bit.
It really does juice the second. And to me, like, that's something I'm very, very excited about.
Yeah. So even for someone like me, like who I just said a little bit ago, like I'm not the biggest Boutte fan, but him coming back means that if other people are, then I could potentially get somebody else that I like later. Like I was able to get Josh Downs here, the 2.03. Love that. If Boutte's not back, Downs is not there, the 2.03, because the player pool moves up a player or two. I think the quarterbacks too, if you're not a huge fan of the quarterbacks and Levis and Richardson, other people are, that drops talent down to you. That's the one benefit of Superflex that you're not getting in one quarterback. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I also see in like don't call them expert leagues, but like leagues that aren't as sharp, people that are like in tune with college football. I could see like Hendon Hooker moving up. I could see Max Dugan, Stetson Bennett, like different types of players that I'm not necessarily high on. I don't think the NFL is, but like college fans are. And that's what a lot of people in Dynasty leagues play with. So keep that in mind. There will be shocking picks, guaranteed, that don't make any sense that push talented players further down the list.
Oh, Chase Brown went at the 2.07.
I know. I love that one. I saw that one. I'm like, here's the thing. That is, I think, a fine draft spot for him. You're going to get to these handcuff running backs. Like that's around where Ramondre Stevenson was going a couple years back when he landed behind James White and Damian Harris. Like you start getting to your handcuffs because there's only so many guys that aren't going to be thrust into a handcuff role at running back, at that point in their career.
I'll take Kincaid.
Is he your tight end too?
I don't know, man. I don't look at tight ends this early. It's January 19th.
We're doing mock drafts. You have to know every name.
I'm sorry.
As I say that, I'm looking. I'm like, I just don't.
Can you take Parker Washington for me when you're down there and just make me feel better about that?
Do I have to?
Yeah.
No, I'm not taking Parker Washington. I can promise you that. No, there is a wide receiver I was talking about with Marco over at Dynasty Nerds that I like, and I'll pick him here in a second. But so while I'm on the clock, guys, before I pick, if you like what we're doing here, you like these types of videos, obviously subscribe to the channel. If you want more live streams, more pre-recorded videos, right, multiple a month, check out the YouTube membership. Just click that join button down below. Again, help support Addison and I as we keep doing this on our weekday nights. But yeah, it's just more content throughout the season, more rookie content, more live streams, etc. So check that out, guys. But no, Xavier Hutchinson.
Oh,
out of Iowa State. Do I think he's going to be spectacular? No, I don't. But this late, he's an interesting prospect because one, he is continually improved every season. And two, he has the size that a lot of other receivers in this class don't, right? At 6'3", 205, and that's going to come down. I'm interested in the tools. And again, I'm usually a running back late here, but after Roschon Johnson went, there's not a running back here that I'm necessarily excited about. So I think Xavier Hutchinson is an interesting upside piece in the right situation that could pay off.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Again, it's January 19th. We don't even know the combine yet. I like it. I like these names that, it's good to just hear when we're in this late, some of the names that are just interesting to us so early on in the process, because they could be players that you just kind of keep an eye on, maybe keep a low profile as we move throughout draft season. Maybe they get drafted in like the 5th round and they're like the wide receiver 3 or 4 on some interesting team. And then that's a player that you might be interested in with a later round pick. So I like hearing these kinds of names from other analysts on kind of like who's sticking out, who's kind of sleeping, and everything like that. So Hutchinson on the list.
Xavier Hutchinson out of Iowa State.
There it is. All right, so that was draft number 2. I like it. Do we want to talk about anything in here? So there were some heavy differences.
We do have some comments. Let's pull up the comments and we can dive back into the mock here. Yeah.
All right, so Drunk Squidward has the 102, 105. Who would you draft in those spots this year?
Bryce Young, and then JSN or Jahmyr Gibbs, whichever one is there, because one of them will be there or should be there. I think those are the obvious picks, right?
Yeah. Just in case, go one quarterback, just in case.
So Bryce Young would be the quarterback I would take if he's there. If not, CJ Stroud, I'm also taking him over Gibbs or JSN at 105.
Oh, I meant like if it's not a super.
Oh, you're saying in a 1 QB
league, 102, 105.
I'm looking at Sean Tucker. I'm looking at Jordan Addison. I think they should both be there.
At the one
again, we like Quentin Johnston. Not enough to put him ahead of that. There's just a little too raw. I think for our liking right now. So I'm not putting him that high. But Addison, Sean Tucker.
Joey says we're too low on Tank, or other people are too low on Tank.
Everybody else is too low on Tank.
There it is.
Not us. Tank going higher than 201, I think would be surprising.
Yeah, that's for sure. Unless he really gets like the NFL really believes in him,
I don't think they will.
I
don't think they're gonna.
Just seems like he's just floating on by.
Yes, absolutely.
In Dynasty, is Zach Wilson droppable now?
Okay. He's not droppable, but I understand why you feel that way.
In one quarterback, he absolutely is. But
one QB, yeah.
I mean, I'm just covering all my bases here. I'm not 100% sure.
Like, I just if you wanted to drop him, I don't blame you. I don't think he ends up winning. He's not going to become a starter. He's going to be a backup that gets thrust into a spot if even that, right? He might be droppable.
I'd let it see how it plays out.
Yeah. You have to, but like, I get it. I fully get it.
Yeah, I get it. If he ends up getting like Baker Mayfielded, there might be some sort of like, I don't even want to say like confidence back in him, but like if he get Baker Mayfielded and he's like just a starter somewhere else,
yeah,
and it might be a really bad team, but like if he's a starter, you can't drop him in Superflex.
Right, but I don't think he's going to be a starter again. I don't think like
not.
Baker was at least a 4-year starter.
Right.
Zach Wilson made it
a year and a half.
Maybe not even barely, like by the amount of games he played.
Oh yeah.
They were like, we saw you play 12 games. We're good. Like, I don't know what's going on with it. Yeah, you can't actually drop him, but I get wanting to just not have him on your team.
Ridley Truther's in the chat. What's up, my man? On a 1-year out rebuilder, Superflex, 2 tight end premium. He has the 101 and 107. Bijan won't help me much, so looking for a quarterback or wide receiver to build around. Who are some general targets you go after? So I'm assuming you have the 101. What are you looking to trade out for?
Yeah. The only thing you do at the 101 is you draft Bijan or you trade. You do not keep that pick and take somebody else. Doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm. So what are you looking to do when you're trading out?
Trading out, I mean, if you want quarterback help, look, kick tires at the 102, 103. If you're in on Will Levis, you can probably look down to the 105, 106. Like, you have those options. And on top of that, you're going to want young upside wide receivers. So think Devonta Smith, DK Metcalf, Garrett Wilson, Drake London. Those are the types of guys you can get paired with that early pick probably and trade out and I think be happy.
If you go down, I think that's like you need to go down to like the Levis Richardson era to get some of those.
Right. I'm saying you think you're not getting 103 and Devonta Smith for Bijan Robinson?
No.
I think you would. People are nuts.
Dude.
People are nuts.
Worst people will say is no.
Right. Ask something crazy. The price needs to be absurd because it should be.
Or just go and find the Lamar Jackson guy and just say, hey, do you want to take the 101 for Lamar? You might even get something thrown in, depending on how the Lamar guy feels.
Yeah, that's 100% true. Yes.
Yeah, go for Lamar or Herbert or Lawrence.
And 107 in a 2 tight end premium league. Michael Mayer, 100%.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it, especially if he is a first round pick. Or
right, if he gets the DC, but I'm saying that 2 tight end, it's not even 1.5, 125. 2 tight end, I think he's in play there at least.
Yeah. I wouldn't be opposed to it in 107. Like if you're a year out for sure, if you want to take a shot on whichever one of Richardson and Levis that you want to, just to take the home run swing, if one of them hits, then that speeds up your rebuild.
Yeah. Significantly.
All right. So Colin's in here. Colin said Charbonnet has good elusive rating, missed tackle forced also high, should have a good speed score and a good receiver out of the backfield. That's the argument there. Kevin says, seems like a complete back with good size. It'll all depend on draft capital, though.
I think that's where we are, though. Like he is a complete back, but he doesn't do anything that jumps off the page, right? He's just a dude doing dude things. Like that's not a bad thing. I think he will have a good career, but I think the ceiling with the guys like a Sean Tucker, even Zach Evans, is just so much higher.
Right. Do you have a comp for Charbonnet? First thing that came out of my head was like David Montgomery.
Yeah, that's exactly who my comp is.
Like,
I think he might be a better athlete. He also might not. Like, I need to see what that comes in at to fully be like, he might just be David Montgomery, which is fine. Demo had some great seasons, for fantasy.
Mm-hmm. Whereas I think Sean Tucker has like Josh Jacobs upside, like
Josh Jacobs was fast.
Well, Jacobs is kind of fast, but yeah, but like
his 40 times, one of the most shocking things I've ever seen.
That's true too. But Jacobs was able to catch passes coming out of Alabama, never utilized like that. But that's where I think Sean Tucker can get into. I think Evans and Bigsby. I think Kendre Miller is like super slept on. Like I think that he would be like if Damian Pierce was in the second round, that's what I view Kendre Miller as.
Yeah. No, I think he gets day 3, but I'm interested. If he lands on day 2, I'm going to be a lot happier.
Yeah.
A lot happier.
We both like Charbonnet. I just don't think he's not there's nothing differentiating him between all the other guys. And we both prefer Tucker a lot more.
Late first, early second, I'm considering him. Oh. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying we're not, but.
Do we want to do a 1 quarterback draft? I'm sorry. I'm just seeing all these comments now of people saying that we should do one more. I'm in. Let's do it. Then we won't get yelled at in the comments.
Put it in the chat so I can join before.
No, I'm going to have you join in just like everybody else.
You son of a bitch.
Here, let me change the name real quick in case.
Someone's going to see it and be very confused.
I saw the invite. The invite on the last one said 1 quarterback startup.
Was it from your last mock draft you set up, which was our 1 QB startup draft?
All right, we're going to do another one. Let's
1 QB. There you go. We can just we're doing third. Okay, I have it.
I sent it to you first.
I have it. I'm getting it.
Link is in the chat. Hurry up, people. If you want in. Where have I not gone yet?
I haven't picked late yet.
You
haven't picked the middle. Perfect. Oh, I closed out of it. Crap. All right.
Dude, some of these people are so fast.
You guys are just ready for it. It's almost like we are announcing it live.
I gotta change the
Before you start it, let's answer a couple more questions and then we will run this.
I changed the Where is Bijan? Oh, he doesn't have an ADP that high. I changed it from 2 QB to just maybe if I go to standard. No, that doesn't change it. Dynasty
It'll be PPR. You guys just know that
I'm just going to keep it as that, and then this gives at least the good player list.
Yeah. Yes,
we're doing 1 quarterback.
One
quarterback. People got in here.
Let's get a couple questions, and we'll kick this off.
Bro. Does Rashee Rice make his way into the top 3 rounds?
I think he will. I think he's a third. He screams like 3rd round wide receiver.
Yeah, I think so. That's a round where people will be willing to take a project, but they see the upside, and they're like, if he hits on that upside, then you can't take him any later.
Right. Absolutely.
Josh Downs is super underrated. Getting him in the early second is amazing. I 100% agree.
Yeah, we're in full agreement.
Dylan says Downs or Boutte. I'm team Downs.
I think I'm Downs for now. That's one where if it's 2nd versus 3rd round, like Downs somehow slips to the 3rd, which isn't going to happen.
This was an emoji, but it doesn't come through on StreamYard. Colby is a YouTube member and used an emoji, so hopefully you can see that in YouTube chat.
Oh, I can. It's sweet.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, so before we kick this off, if you have not joined the YouTube memberships, do that now. 1, you get emojis like Kobe has, but also you get extra content. You get extra videos, extra live streams. That means more rookie mocks, which turn into 3, 4 rookie mocks. Right? You get more content from Addison and I. Check that out, guys. The YouTube memberships, they are down below. Just click that join button. Go ahead and help support Addison and I as we just continue to do this basically year round until we die. So that's where we're at.
All right. A couple quick ones, like super fast while I get the screen share going. Who's the best wide receiver in the draft class?
JSN.
Bam. What would you add onto the 106 to move up to 102 in 1 quarterback? He's trying to lock down JSN.
Could you do like a Terry McLaurin? Would you do like, dude, I would love to give Terry McLaurin in 106 for JSN.
I would love that. Could you do George Pickens?
You definitely could. I would too. You definitely could.
What about Burks?
You could. I'd want like a third back or something. That feels too expensive. Honestly, Pickens might be too expensive as I'm saying it out loud. But I think you'd get more back. Depends how they feel on those guys. I like both. I know you're a little bit lower on Pickens than I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's something I would like to do to just capitalize on his inflated value. If Geno Smith can make it, so can Zach Wilson.
We can't do this with every failed quarterback. We can't do it.
All right, I'm gonna get this thing started. We're gonna run it. One quarterback.
Oh no, I have noise on.
Quarterback.
Good. So Bijan stays as he should. Good. There we go. We're off and running. We gotta get to the first 4 picks, I think. Otherwise, someone might not know.
Bijan,
right. So
Jameer, Jordan, Jaxon Smith-Njigba. This is gonna be.
It's gonna be Jordan Addison.
Man,
yeah.
Jordan
Look at that. So I think these are the first 4 in a 1 QB league. Like I don't know if I'm differing really anywhere. Maybe Sean Tucker there. Maybe, but like I don't know. I like Jordan Addison.
Yeah, I think that's the
safer.
first 4. I think that's 100% the first 4. And it could be like it's Bijan. The next 3 are in kind of whatever order, but I don't think I envision really anybody bumping up over that group. 105, I think that's like, so if we're that confident in the top 4 being those 4 players, then that 105 is where the decisions really start going. I'm taking Sean Tucker. I'm assuming you're taking Sean Tucker.
At 105, yes. He's
Okay.
he's my guy right now. Downs. Damn, I was wondering if Josh Downs could fall.
Dude, we keep talking him up in here. People
I'm having a terrible time. Like if I'm drafting at the 111, this is my nightmare. Like everybody, these are the first 9 for me.
Mm-hmm.
I am not having fun anymore.
You're gonna have to take a quarterback, bro.
No, I'm not taking a quarterback. Screw it. I am taking. So this is where like I'm looking at the board. You could go A-Chain. You could go Kendry Miller. You could go Michael Mayer, which I think honestly is probably a good pick here. But I'm going to take Tank Bigsby because here's the thing. I don't think I'm going to be able to take him this high come May. So for now, I want to put Tank Bigsby.
You just want to feel good about it, you know?
Right. I was all in on Tank Bigsby coming into the season, and he just did not perform. He didn't get better. And obviously, Bo Nix left, and that clearly had an effect on the offense. But it just feels like there was not enough improvement or leadership from him in that locker room. It feels like he's now going to get the draft capital needed. I'm very worried. I hope he lands on day 2. I don't know if he's going to.
I want a team. I want the Eagles to move on from Miles Sanders and draft one of these guys because then I'm just going to be so excited about that.
Right. Like
it could be any of them.
So what's your top landing spot for like these back half running backs after Kendry Miller? You're looking at
Chase Brown. Kendry?
Yeah, after Kendry Miller. Because I think those guys are, to me, if they get the draft capital, they're landing spot agnostic. I don't care. It's the other guys where you have to start like really factoring in landing spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Chase Browns, the Devin A-Chain, Deuce Vaughn, if that's your speed, Roshan Johnson. Where do you want a guy to land?
I'm going to pull up NFL Tankathon real quick.
I think the Eagles makes a lot of sense, like you said.
I like the Eagles a lot. I think Atlanta makes some sense as well too. If with Cordell Patterson kind of getting older, potentially moving out, getting phased out, they just seem like they just want to stay a heavy run first team. I liked. I think we mentioned this in the mock draft with Chicago. If they move on from Montgomery, then they draft Chase Brown, local kid.
We're getting Saquon, dude. You don't need Chase Brown.
Sorry, my bad.
But no, I think Khalil Herbert's the one there, but that team's going to run or should run enough that they're going to be able to support it too, like they did with Montgomery and Herbert this year. So
right. And I think Brown fills that gap very nicely.
I'm with you on that. Absolutely.
I like Denver. I put I've had this thought in my head that Damian Harris signs there in free agency as the new Melvin Gordon. and I really, really like that. But if they decide not to go that route and they just wanted to attack running back on day 3, I think they could do that as well, and that would be an interesting spot. A-Chain is different because he's not a prototypical like backup. Like he fits much more of a passing down role. So I don't know.
He feels like a fit in Chicago because Khalil Herbert cannot pass block. Can't do it.
I was gonna say A-Chain in Cleveland.
Kareem Hunt's gone. Yeah, well, the Kareem Hunt role didn't exist this year. Kareem Hunt didn't have the Kareem Hunt role.
But I just see him as an explosive. They want to add in an explosive piece to this offense, a dynamic pass catcher out of the backfield who also has capabilities running in between the tackles. Obviously, not as well as Nick Chubb. There's 3 other running backs in the league who are as good as Nick Chubb in between the tackles. But if you want a dynamic player out of the backfield that complements Chubb, I think A-Chain would be a good pick.
Yeah. Real quick, looking at the board, are you taking Anthony Richardson and Will Levis in the second round of a 1 QB league? I'm not taking Levis there.
When they're that deep, yes.
You are.
There's different levels of the second round, right? Like when you say second round,
late second, I'll say, because they shouldn't go early.
No, they shouldn't go early second, but I like them there because, when you get to that point, like some people will be like, all right, Jalen Hyatt. And I get it because, there's upside there, especially if you already have a quarterback or 2.
Jalen Hyatt went earlier in our Superflex draft than he did in this.
That's true.
I just want to point that out, whatever that says about him.
Yeah, then there's you just took Rashee Rice, Cedric Tillman is still down there, Marvin Mims, like all these guys. I would rather take the shot on the next Josh Allen, the next Lamar Jackson, the next Jalen Hurts, which is what those 2 quarterbacks can be. I don't know what the probability that they do become one of them is probably really small. But at this point, like the opportunity cost that you're missing out on by drafting one of those guys and taking that home run swing is so minimal that it's worth it there. I would not take them over, Brown or A-Chain. Obviously not over any of the other quarterbacks as well. Like, I took CJ Stroud at 205. But I think right there, I think that's a good spot for them in 1 quarterback leagues.
Yep. I think that makes sense. Levis, I'm probably lower on just because 1 QB league. I don't know what the upside is. Richardson, yeah, I guess we'll see. Richardson, yeah, I'm doing that. But Jalen Hyatt still falling is funny to me. Jalen Hyatt is going like he's an analytical nightmare to the same level that like Josh Downs is like a perfect analytical player. Not perfect, but checks off the majority of boxes where Jalen Hyatt is like, all right, 0 production before year 3, low dominator rating, all of these types of things. It's like, he's just like the inverse of Josh Downs.
Like he was like, he saw what DJ Chark did from like year 1 to year 2 in Jacksonville and was like, bet let me do that from year 2 to year 3. Like it's just like the most minimal production of all time to the maximum production. And
he is an early declare, right? So yes, he gets that box. Look at that. Yeah. Good job, Jalen Hyatt.
The funniest quote of Jalen Hyatt that I remember is whenever you were talking about him in our mock and you said his breakout age is however old he is right now. That was just so funny to me.
I was proud of that one because like we harp on breakout age and people like, does it really matter? Yes, it absolutely matters. And is it the end all be all? Of course not. But I prefer players that have success early and that have continued success over guys that seemingly pop up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
There's no Kincaid again. You're in.
Dude, apparently I'm in. I just pencil me in the mid-3rd round, Dalton Kincaid.
Honestly, I don't blame you.
It's as much that I don't really know enough about all these other players as I just have heard people talk about Kincaid on Twitter. It's like a nice little mixture of all of this going on. Right? I would have taken Marvin Mims. I was actually really hoping that they were going to make this easy on me and I was just going to be able to draft Marvin Mims.
Again, yeah. I don't think, did Marvin Mims even get drafted in the last one?
Yeah.
I don't know if he did. I don't remember seeing him.
Wait, yeah, he went at the 301.
301. Okay, that's why.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. You're just like looking at this board, and again, it's
Can you
just
take Parker Washington?
I was literally hovering his name, strictly because I'm not doing what you told me to do. I'm not going to do it.
Bonzera, you're my last hope at the 312. Please.
You have to take him.
Parker Washington.
Why do you like Parker Washington?
He went to Penn State.
Sell me. Okay. I was going to say, sell me on Parker Washington. Penn State.
Dude, honestly, I wish he stayed another year. Not just because I'm selfishly wanting him to stay at Penn State for another year because he's really good. But he did the Kayshon Boutte at a much lesser known level. Like he had all the potential in the world. Like I was really excited about him when he was coming in across from Jahan Dotson. He produced really, really well last year. And then I was like, oh, dude, we're going to have Parker Washington. He's going to rise up the draft board this year. And then like he had injuries. And then when he was on the field, he was not like separating himself all that much from Mitchell Tinsley. And and I don't know if that was like an injury thing, if it was a Sean Clifford thing, and they were mixing in Drew Aller. And I don't really know what happened to Parker Washington this year, but he just didn't meet expectations. And then he declared, and I was like, I don't know if you should have done that.
I mean, he's out there. We'll see. We'll see what the NFL thinks. It feels like it's a mistake.
Yeah, that's all you got. Yeah, he's out there.
He exists. I went Darnell Washington again. My tight end 2. Happy to get him as a tight end 4. It's just the upside shot. Like this late, I know I'm going to burn a roster spot for like 2 years, and I hate it. But I love Darnell Washington.
Dude, 6'7", 270.
Right, like insane. It's crazy to be that large and that athletic.
To be that large.
He's Jelani Woods. That's what he is.
Yeah. He'll be interesting to see where he goes. Yeah. Is this Tyler Kroft?
It's Tyler Kroft's brother. It's his cousin, Tyler
Kraft. All right. So, do you have enough time to answer a couple questions?
Yeah. We got a couple questions that we gotta wrap up here.
Well, Justin's got to go. What a Debbie Downer. Sorry, we're not going to be able to do another one. I'm sorry, guys, but we'll do it again. We'll do all of this again. We have so much time. We'll do another stream probably before the end of the month, maybe, or at least beginning of February.
Yeah.
So, let's answer these as quickly as we can. Aaron, 10-team Superflex rebuilding. He has all of those draft picks. Are you moving to 101 or 104 or holding tight?
I'm moving to 101. Again, if you can get it for something reasonable. Like if it's the 106, the 109, the 203, give them 3 picks for the 101. If somebody would take that, I would do that without hesitation.
Would you go 103, 109?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
103, 106.
Yes.
All 3 of them.
No. I'm not doing 3 first. I love Bijan, but no.
And then I would like to move from 106 to 104. I don't think you necessarily have to because you're still solidifying yourself Gibbs, JSN, or Addison at
right,
the 106.
If you think, and this is where you personally have to look and say, do you think there's a tier break?
Mm-hmm.
That's the only time I'm looking to move up is if I think I've identified my tiers throughout the draft and I want to jump up a tier. If it's a group of guys that I think are similar, I'm just going to let everybody else make my choice. And then I'll take the guy that's left because then it's not my fault if I'm wrong. I just took the guy in my tier.
Right. Yeah. So if you can get a good price for 104, I don't mind it because if you do see that tier or you see one of those guys just so much better than the other two. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, if you're leaving with Stroud, Addison, Sean Tucker, and I mean, if this draft is the last couple of Superflex drafts for any indication, you could potentially get Josh Downs at the 203.
Right. If you want to go from 109 to 104, yes, I'm in on that. Like that is a large tier jump.
That is absolutely.
So that's worth it. But again, depends on price.
In a 1 quarterback league, how far up the draft board can you move for 110 and 111? So package those 2 picks equals which higher draft pick?
Probably like the 106, like the back of that second. Oh no, 1 QB league. So I'm looking probably the 10.
So this was what would you turn Charbonnet and Bigsby in? How high up can you go on that draft board?
If I can get Sean Tucker, love it. I don't know if he can.
I want JSN or Addison.
You want to go 1 tier higher?
Yeah.
I'd prefer to. I think Tucker's probably the most, but 105 is the most realistic.
Probably, yeah. I just don't know if at that point, like if you're able to turn both of those, I feel like I'd rather just have shots on 2 Charbonnet like running backs than 1 Sean Tucker. Even though I think Sean Tucker's a lot better, I feel like I just want to have 2 dart throws at it instead.
I'd prefer, and this is what I do with most leagues where I pick at the back of the first. I trade out. I trade for proven production. And like it depends if you can package those two. Like it did not pan out for me last year, literally at all. But I traded the 202 and the 204 for Elijah Moore. What I felt like was proven production. It blew up in my face miraculously. It was spectacular. But like those are the types of moves I tend to make with a player that I think is more proven and it's less of a dart throw.
Insert Jerry Jeudy here.
Yeah, I just traded for Jerry Jeudy. It was great.
Oh, nice.
Super happy. Let me find. I'll find the trade for you. We got another question though.
Kyler plus what for the 1.01 if you are in a rebuild and you need a quarterback? I would not be surprised if you can get a late first.
Kyler plus what for the 101? Yeah, you probably off an ACL. People want out. People
hate Kyler Murray.
They do hate Kyler.
Yeah. So if Kyler's on like a team that was in the playoffs, they have a later first, it's like 108, 109, 110. I would aim for the 101 for Kyler plus that first and see what you can do. Because then maybe you get 2 shots at quarterback. You get Kyler plus one of those other quarterbacks, Levis or Richardson. You get a Sean Tucker, Josh Downs, a Keyshawn Butte. Maybe Quentin Johnston falls and you like him a lot. It's another really good piece for your rebuild.
Yep, exactly. Also, I found my Jerry Jeudy trade.
Oh, hit me.
Jerry Jeudy, Adam Thielen, because he just wanted an old person off of his roster. I don't really have any value on Thielen. Jerry Jeudy in the 206 for Brian Robinson, who was overvalued, Terrace Marshall, throw in, whatever, and then the 201. So I basically dropped back 5
spots and picked up Jeudy
for Brian Robinson. I will do that 1,000
back
times.
5 spots and swap. Yeah.
No brainer. Brian Robinson's so overvalued. If that's what you can get for Brian Robinson, trade him right now.
Speaking of overvalued, Boa Gaming just traded Christian Watson in the 109 for DK Metcalf.
Incredible. Magic.
I love it. Yeah, that's fantastic. But I'm sorry, you're talking to like 2 of the lowest Christian Watson people.
Notorious.
So it might be a little biased on that answer, but when will second rounder values pick up after the combine or wait until the NFL draft?
NFL draft.
The combine will definitely do a lot of things because it's going to show a lot of players' athleticisms, and we're going to get excited about a whole bunch of players. They're going to move up draft boards, and then other people are going to be like, wait, why are we moving Devon A-Chain up ahead of, Keyshawn Butte? Because they're, stuff like that happens. I'm not saying that specifically is going to happen, but when players test well, other players that don't test as well get dropped, and then they become values. So a lot of people could see that, and those second round picks become more valuable because you're able to acquire those people down that far. So the combine will be the first step. But the NFL draft will too.
Yep.
But I always be floating. Just see throughout the process what you can get, because depending on your league and the players in your league, that you might be able to sell out quickly and you won't have to see what the draft does. Because sometimes the draft can be a problem and can really mitigate some of these players real fast. Because players fall, they go to bad landing spots, Yeah,
there's a million things. Players get taken out. They just fall. Isaiah Spiller.
I mean, I was going to say that's essentially what happened in this past class. Was like once you hit the 111 in Superflex, you're like, oh crap.
Yeah, this is not good.
No, it was really bad. So the NFL draft can do that as well too. So maybe it is it might be worth your while to not see what the draft does to players.
Yeah, that's the appropriate response.
What about 106 to 103 in one quarterback? If you're moving from the 1.06 plus equals 1.03, which here is Evans or Quentin Johnston for JSN.
Yeah, it's. Oh, dude, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you have to give up a ton. I don't know because there are people who are significantly higher on Quentin Johnston than us. Not that we're not excited about him, but there are people that like him significantly more, right? So that expands that tier for them, right? They love Zach Evans. People may not view it as a teardrop. So it just depends on who you're trying to trade with. I think that's an interesting one. I don't know what to give up though.
I would try if it's like your 106, I try 106, 206. See if that gets you.
I think you may have to give a little more, but yeah,
maybe.
That's the starting spot.
That's probably I'd send that out, see as a feeler what he's thinking, stuff like that, and then you can add from there if you need to. But you probably don't need to add. I'd say I'd probably add another second, but I wouldn't do a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Why linear and not snake? So this is
for rookie drafts. Again, you don't want. The goal is to build the bottom of the league, right? And that's typically outside of trades, right? That's who should be drafting at the 101. So similar to the NFL, the worst teams get the better picks in each round. And that's the way you want to do it because you want to continue to give the bad teams a shot at better talent. You don't want to give the first overall pick, the first overall team, the first pick in the second round. I think I lost the thread, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's just like the NFL. The point is to continue to add parity to your league. So then it's not the same people owning every. That's how you lose managers
every time.
So to help them out, you give them 101, 201, 301, 102, 302,
Yep. And so on.
Yeah. So rookie drafts are always linear in Dynasty. In a one quarterback league, Waddle plus the 104 for 1.01. Does that make sense? This is kind of like what you were talking about a little earlier when you were saying, what could you trade out of the 101 for? And Waddle plus the 1.04. That's a wow.
I'm probably doing it.
I'd probably bounce out.
I think I'd do it.
I think that's an overpay for the 1.01. If you're trying to move up to 101, that's an overpay.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but if you have the 1.01, I would take it.
That's what I tweeted. I was like, I want an obscene overpay, or I will die with Bijan Robinson on my roster. This is the obscene overpay I'm talking about.
One quarterback league, JSN or Gibbs at 102. I don't think we have enough
Gibbs.
Information right now to solidify that, but early on in the process, it's Gibbs, right?
Yeah. I understand how quickly I answered, but like today, how I was drafting, it's Gibbs.
Yeah,
JSN easily could be there.
105 and 205, Terrace and Lockett for Pierce 103 and 303.
Like Terrace Marshall?
Uh-huh.
So 105, 205, and Lockett for Pierce for 103 and 303.
Is this one quarterback or Superflex?
I don't know if it matters all that much. I'm probably going to I'll take Pierce in 103.
I think that's how I'm leaning as well.
Yeah. I think I just prefer the upgrade and pick. Maybe it's a slight tier jump. Yeah, I said 1 QB. So, yeah, 103.
Nice. 103, yes. Yep. Jamar Chase for the 101 and a 24 first.
The 101 and a 2024 first? I want Bijan in the first, I think.
I'll take Chase.
The second first throws me because like Jamar Chase and Bijan are basically like if you want to swap them 1 for 1, I get it. Like I think they're close. I don't know if the 2021st is the gap.
Yeah, that's definitely the right answer. Is that on a value basis, the 101 and 24 first is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, it depends on your roster. I think that one more so than anything, but like that pure value is the 101.
Bijan, easy answer. Yeah. Joe Burrow and Brian Robinson or Josh Allen in a one quarterback league? I'm taking Josh.
Yeah, I'm taking Josh.
That tier jump is, yeah.
Is it? Yeah, the gap's not Brian Robinson. I can tell you that. If it's 6 point, Burrow has a better case, but I'm like 6 point passing touchdown, which it should be. Burrow has a better case. I'm still taking Allen.
Colby's in here. Colby is also a YouTube
Colby?
member, by the way.
Be like Kobe. Do the YouTube membership.
He asked in a 10-team Superflex, would you trade Lance and Purdy for Kyler?
For Kyler? Oh, yeah.
In like 370 days out of 365. I'm doing that.
Yes, every time.
So that was
every single time.
25-8. I'm doing that. Kyler. His Kicksworks Judy trade was Adams and 2 late seconds for Judy, Hollywood, Trevor Lawrence, Akers, and a 24 first in a 1 quarterback league. Oh my gosh.
I think I remember seeing this in the comments. Like a YouTube comment. That's crazy. That's a great trade.
That's insane. Oh, all right. I skipped over 2 because we got another one, but I have the 102, 104, and 105. Depending on landing spot, I want to ensure JSN, but also prefer Stroud in a Superflex league that can start 6 wide receivers. Wow.
So
here's how you finesse this. Take JSN at the 1.02, and you guarantee yourself a quarterback at 104.
Yeah, that's the answer. And most likely they're going to take Bryce Young at 103 because that is the preference for most people.
Right.
So
but if they take Stroud, I like Bryce Young. So
yeah,
I know if you have the difference, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would finesse that I would take JSN at the 102, and that forces one of the 2 quarterbacks come back to you at 104 instead of playing the game.
And you get Gibbs at 105.
And you get Gibbs at 105.
What a draft. That's a nice draft.
All right, now I need to go out in all my leagues
102,
104, 105, and finesse all my Superflex drafts like that.
4 or 5, I love. I love having those 2 this year.
Burks and Chig for Diggs.
If you're contending, yes.
I'd do this just in general.
Yeah, you should
Diggs
be able to flip Diggs for more.
Yeah,
you should be able to flip him for more, anyways.
How much are you? How much to drop from 104 to 109? So what should you be getting on top of 109 to drop down from 104?
A good wide receiver. A good wide receiver. You're not going to get a top tier wide receiver, but I think you could get. What's the tier like?
Godwin.
I was going to say, yeah, him, Pittman, Ayuk, like that tier. I think is in play.
Is DJ Moore in there for you?
He would be in there, but I think whoever rosters DJ Moore, every league, the person that rosters DJ Moore is obsessed with DJ Moore. I know that because I have him in most leagues. So, like, that's just the people that have DJ Moore. We're all in. Like, we're not selling for cheap. Oh, we'll do it for Hollywood for sure.
Hollywood.
You may have to throw something back on top, I think, with these guys, but as a core, I like that trade.
That's what I'd be going for. Would you do Chase in the 204 for Jefferson?
Yes. I would. I think Jefferson is better. Like, I mean, I don't think anybody disagrees. I think like it's a notable tier, a tier jump ahead.
I think I'd keep Chase.
You do? I like Chase. He's my 2, but I think there's a gap between him and Jefferson.
Yeah, I do too. I just think that you could do something with the 204. You don't need to go upgrading probably the best piece on your roster for an even better,
That's fair. Yeah.
Like if you already have, yeah, I don't know a metaphor for that.
I just don't have much.
Already have ETN and Hall in a 1 quarterback league. He also has the 101 and 102. He's stacked at wide receiver, 4 in top 10 dynasty rankings. Do you take best available at 102, even if it's Gibbs, or split and take wide receiver to mitigate the risk?
You take best available.
That is always the answer.
Always best of it. You're not setting a lineup. It's January. You're not setting a lineup right now. Deal with what you actually need in August.
Now, that's not to say that best available come your draft is not JSN.
Right. That's true. It very well could be.
But I would say if best available at that time is Jahmyr Gibbs, don't be afraid to take them. Just take both of them and call it a day. Because at the end of the day, I don't think I've ever heard anybody complain that they've had too many top 10 running backs.
Oh
You know?
no, I have an elite pass catcher. Dang. What am I supposed to do? Like, yeah, like just take the best available. Someone will trade for him if you really don't want them on your roster.
Waddle in the 104 for Burks in the 101. Is that better?
That's a lot better.
That makes it better.
That's better.
Little something coming back to you. I like it. I think this will be the last one. It's a little kind of what do I do here? Or how did I do? Received Judy, Cup, Madison, and Waller. Gave a 24 first, 24 second, 25 first, and 25 second. Also still has 4, 6, and 9 this year.
2 seconds, 2 firsts. Yeah.
For Judy and Cup, bro. I don't even care about the rest of it.
Right. Like, you get upside with Madison. Waller, you get a shot. Yeah, I like that.
That is insane. You crushed that. All right, I'm sorry. You can't.
We have to. We have to answer the next one. If you want us to keep doing this, if you guys want us to keep going, you have to do what Lounging Bear is doing. Otherwise, we do have to get off.
Lounging Bear hit us with a $10, man. Thank you so much. He says that he has Lawrence, Kyler, and Watson in Superflex. Are either Stroud or Young worth moving Swift or Walker to get them? I also have Breece Etienne in the 101, Young at wide receiver, and have 105, 109.
Lawrence, Kyler, Watson.
I would be willing to, if you can get Swift. Sorry, if you can trade Swift for 102 or 103 straight up, I'm 100% doing that.
Yeah, I don't think you can, but I would.
Yes, I don't think you can either, but I would 100% do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it for Kenneth Walker.
No, I'd keep Walker.
I'd hold Walker. So would I.
And then you're also getting Bijan coming back too, and at 105 you could be getting JSN. Yeah, I would add to Swift. Like I wouldn't do like Swift in 109 for one of them, but if you can do like Swift in a second, if you have to add something to Swift and they're not able to do that, which I think you're gonna have to. You have a really good situation here, man. This is gonna go out in many different directions, but I think they're all gonna be fantastic for you.
Absolutely.
Weston, just to quickly answer your question real quick, take CJ Stroud. If it's Superflex. Always take the best available rookie, no matter the position, no matter the player. Always take best available in rookie drafts. I'm going to leave it on this. It's a teaser for our video tomorrow that's dropping. So,
oh yeah,
bam.
That's a good one.
Bam.
That's a good one.
End that. Lounging Bear, thank you. Thank you again for the $10. All right. We did it, Justin.
Good work. 3 drafts, an hour and a half later. Good work.
We're going to do this again. Don't worry, guys. If you didn't have a chance to draft or you want to see more drafts, talk about more player values, we're going to be doing this so much more throughout draft season. So definitely stick around, subscribe, check out the YouTube memberships as well, too, for bonus
YouTube
content.
membership. Do it.
Yes. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, for watching, for drafting with us. And we'll catch